What's up, everybody, and welcome to Metroid 5, also known as Metroid Dread here in the US and UK. So, Metroid Dread is not only the celebration of 35 years of the Metroid series and Samus herself, but it is the final game of the 2D Metroid saga. So, for those who are watching this video, you may have played some of the 2D games, or you may be only Prime fans from the 3D games and don't know anything about the 2D ones. So, I'm here to guide you through that, catch you up on the journals and all the past games, and give you everything you need to know before we play, not we, play Metroid Dread. So, Metroid Dread is the 5th installment of the series, as I said before. It's called Metroid 5 in Japan, and it started all the way back in 1986 for when the NES Metroid came out. So, the most important thing to know for this game is that this is the end. This is the final game of this storyline created in 1986. Okay, so the Prime games, which are rumored to happen between 2 and Super Metroid, are not considered part of this timeline. They are separate entities. Could be, just say AU, etc. But they're not important to know for the saga so far. In this video, I'm going to take you over the mission history of Metroid 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to explain and talk about some of the journal entries, not all of them, because some of them are just based on gameplay, and others are a bit repetitive, and they also kind of spoil the game, where they give power-ups of the game, or explain how the game works. And if you want to read more about that, you can check it out yourself. You can go to metroid.nintendo.com, and you can check out the news, Planet ZDR, Samus, etc. And there's actually a few extra clips in there that weren't shown in the trailers. However, they do contain a lot of spoilers. It shows you basically all the powers are going to be in Metroid Dread and how the Emmys work, etc. So if you want to check that out, go to metroid.nintendo.com. Into Metroid 5, its new planet, and its new characters, let's talk about the 2D Metroid series in itself. Metroid 1 is a fairly simple game. It is about the Metroid species, which is an unknown floating life form, and they're discovered on planet SR388 by the Galactic Federation. The space pirates who are on planet Zebes steal the Metroids from the Federation, and they plan to use them as biological weapons. Their plot is to weaponize the power of these mysterious creatures. The Galactic Federation, who cannot stop the space pirates at all, enlists the most powerful bounty hunter in the galaxy, Samus Aran. Samus, she touches down on the planet, successfully destroys the space pirates' underground fortress and their mastermind, which is the organic supercomputer Mother Brain. While the plot is fairly simple, just remember here, Metroid is the main conflict, the Metroid species. Samus versus space pirates is actually the good versus evil there, but Metroids are the most dangerous creatures in the world, and your job is not only obviously to fight and stop them, but to stop these space pirates from using them for evil. Now, if you're interested in playing Metroid 1, if you have a Nintendo Switch, you can just play the game online, which I do recommend. However, I highly recommend playing 2004's remake of the game, which is Metroid Zero Mission. The remake added a stealth portion. You get to play as Zero Suit Samus. It's 32-bit, controls way better, and honestly, it's the ideal way to play Metroid 1. So, the following game came out on the Game Boy 91, Metroid 2, Return of Samus. So, this game has the Galactic Federation they took into account of the incident with the space pirates on planet Zebes very seriously. So, they send a research ship to go to SR388 to confirm if Metroids actually are there. Then, that ship goes missing. So, then they send a rescue ship to SR388, and that ship goes missing. So then they were like, alright, there's definitely Metroids there, let's get Samus. So Samus is called once again to exterminate these Metroid threats. However, here, we don't get the typical Metroid. We start off seeing them. However, the Metroids are evolving on this planet. So instead of seeing that gelatinous, jellyfish form, the common Metroid form we see all the time, we're seeing evolved forms of these Metroids from there. We're seeing them like an Alpha, Gamma one, like these bigger, more horrible, indestructible creatures. So as you defeat and destroy every Metroid in their various evolutionary forms, you find the Queen Metroid and you successfully end her to complete your mission. However, at the end of the game, a newborn Metroid hatches in front of Samus, and as she is the first to see it, as she is the first creature it sees, the larva imprints on Samus and believes her to be its mother. Samus can't bring herself to kill the hatchling, so she takes it back to the Galactic Federation Space Science Academy for study. Now, Samus 2 is not a well-received game. It's, I mean, it was a Game Boy game. What are you going to do about that? However, this game has a lot of lore, and it's actually the most recently made game in the Metroid series. And I don't mean timeline-wise, and I don't mean, like Fusion is the most recent Metroid game, because that's 4. However, this game was remade on the 3DS, and it's very important, the 3DS version. It shows a lot about how the Chozo once lived in SR388. There's a lot of the remains of their civilization and high-tech machinery are there. And there are the Chozo memories there, which I will go into later, are displayed only in the 3DS version, which have ties to Metroid Dread. In addition, the 3DS version, which I highly do recommend playing over the Game Boy version, is the closest to the gameplay system we're going to get in Dread. The counter, that action command or counter system we get is akin to Dread, is all actually developed in this game. So if you have a 3DS, I highly recommend playing this game. For those who are super diehard fans, there is a GBA/fan remake of Metroid 2 called AM2R, which is my introduction to Metroid 2. It got taken down by Nintendo, though I'm pretty sure some people saved it. I do recommend looking it up. It's a very well done game. It's based on the style of Zero Mission and Fusion. However, the ideal way to play Metroid 2 is on the 3DS, and it will be prepared. It is the best way to prepare for Dread, is by playing Metroid 2 on the 3DS. So make sure you check that out. Check out the chapters that include the Chozo civilization, and really, this is probably the most important lore game in all of them. So then we get Metroid 3, known as Super Metroid in the States. So Metroid 3 has to go with the greatly damaged space pirate fortress on Zebest was rebuilt. So Samus goes back because Ridley, the supreme commander of the space pirates, attacks the Space Science Academy, steals the hatchling, which is known to be the last living Metroid in the universe, and goes back to their original goal of trying to weaponize the species. So Samus obviously goes back, stops the sinister plans of the space pirates. However, when she's fighting Mother Brain, the hatchling sacrifices itself to save Samus. After the defeat of Mother Brain, Samus narrowly escapes the self-destructing planet Zebest, and the space pirates are wiped out in the blast, along with the last living Metroid in the galaxy. So the weird thing is, Ridley's purple in the game, but red in the artwork. No, that is a thing. However, Super Metroid shows the end, the extinction of not only Planet Zebest, but of the Metroids and possibly all the space pirates. In the next game, Metroid Fusion, aka Metroid 4, you won't be seeing any of that. So let's get into Metroid 4. Metroid 4's story is Samus is hired by a biotech company called Biologic Space Laboratories, or BSL, to protect a field research unit on planet SR388, which is where we were on for Metroid 2. Research on the surface goes well until Samus is attacked by the X-Parasite, which is a life form with the ability to mimic organic creatures in their entirety. The parasite puts Samus in critical condition, but the scientists save her by using a cell culture sourced from the Metroid hatchling, which they essentially create a vaccine for, and that's how she escapes death. Now, important thing here, which I didn't mention earlier, is that Samus already has not just human DNA in her, but Chozo DNA, which is how she's able to control the power suit, and how she was raised by Chozo since she lost her parents early, which I'll get into earlier. But now she added Metroid DNA to her. Now, the cool thing about Metroid Fusion and the entire game is aboard the BSL station orbiting SR388, you battle something called SAX, or SAX, a mimic of Samus in her power suit at full strength. The scary thing about the X-Parasite here, and SAX itself, is when you encounter Sax, not only is it horrifying and you could die instantly, but Samus gets a look at the creature inside the visor, and it is her inside there. It's literally a perfect copy of Samus. So it has Samus's face, it has her eyes, just no pupils in her eyes, it even has her strands of hair. So the X-Parasite doesn't only just mimic you, it mimics your memories. It becomes a perfect copy of you, granted a more monstrous looking form and all that. But it is possible that it gets your memories, and that's how the Sax was able to use all of Samus's abilities and all of that, though probably at a lower intelligent level. So as the game goes on, you succeed in wiping out the X-Parasite, destroying the station, and you save planet SR388 in the aftermath. So we did it. We caught up to the game. However, Metroid 4 has an important thing to go in. The SAX, the SAX, the dev team was so like impressed from it, they thought, what happened if we involved it? And that's where we get the Emmy in the Metroid Dread game. So let's talk about Metroid Dread. So Metroid Dread, the game subtitle, or its title, signifies fear and terror. So there's a entry dialogue on the first journal report, and it reads this. It reads about Samus talking about Metroid Fusion and what the X-Parasite did. So one day, the Galactic Federation received video footage from an unknown source indicating that X still lived. The Federation dispatched a special unit consisting of 7 Emmy robots to the remote planet ZDR. This is where they believe the source of transmission was from. Soon after arriving on ZDR, that whole unit mysteriously vanished. So, does the X truly exist? What happened to ZDR? They send Samus, who is the only one immune in the galaxy, to the X-Parasite to go find out. This is the end of the 2D saga. The developers have said this multiple times. There will not be a Metroid 6. If there's going to be a new Metroid, it's going to be a brand new thing. Or, obviously Prime 4. But does the X truly exist on ZDR? Why are the Emmy hunting Samus? My opinion on why the Emmy are hunting Samus is that Samus has human DNA, which the Emmy wouldn't hunt. However, she has Chozo DNA. Emmy probably wouldn't hunt that. She has Metroid DNA in her, and she possibly has X-Parasite that affected her DNA. So she's an anomaly, an amalgamation of things. So the Emmy, when they scan Samus, they probably just see this, abundance of DNA, mixed DNA, and they think it's a new creature they have to hunt. So Emmy, they're extraplanetary multiform mobile identifiers. They're highly agile, large research robots that were dispatched to the planet ZDR. The protective plating of the Emmy is supposed to be some of the strongest, but they are on a relentless chase to capture Samus because their job is to capture and extract DNA from unknown creatures. So this goes back to what I'm saying before and why one of the enemies in Metroid Dread are going to be the Emmy. However, we don't know. They could have been corrupted? It's not Metroid Prime 3, but yes, there is a chance that these Emmys were corrupted. Now, the other important thing about Metroid Dread is not only her powers, but we're going to deep dive into the new trailer, the second and the last trailer, or the second is the last trailer, I don't remember right now. So when we watch the new trailer, Samus lands in the shadows of the planet of ZDR, and we see a new enemy, or a powerful figure attack Samus. And it's a Chozo-looking creature, very tall, and cool thing is they have an arm cannon like Samus as well. Remember, the power suit is made from Chozo technology. So if we're looking at just this creature, we have to ask, who are the Chozo? The Chozo were a highly intelligent and technologically advanced bird-like species who believe their purpose is to bring that of peace throughout the galaxy. However, this mighty civilization eventually reached a breaking point and collapsed. Now the Chozo who remain 10 avoid the galactic spotlight. So Samus lost her parents at a young age, and the Chozo took her under her wing and raised her on the planet Zebes. So if there was no Chozo, there would be no Samus. However, the only way Samus was ever allowed to survive, or ever could survive on planet Zebes, was Samus received a transplant of Chozo DNA to allow her to survive the harsh conditions of planet Zebes. So her power suit and arm cannon are made with advanced Chozo technology, as well as other, other things we receive. However, as stated from the dev team, there are no other power suits in the entire galaxy. That is a one-of-a-kind thing, so you won't see Chozos looking like Samus. However, Chozo warriors will be standing in her way in this new game. This mysterious opponent is not just a Chozo, but he's a Chozo warrior. Now, the difference between a Chozo warrior and a Chozo soldier is that Chozo warriors are the elite, and Chozo soldiers are just foot soldiers of the Chozo army. Now, while the Chozos may be peaceful, the Galactic Federation actually has documented proof of Chozo warriors existing. Chozo soldiers, they have weapons that look like a long spear, and you were able to see them actually in one of the trailers. So they're capable fighters, and you're gonna have to watch out for them. There's also robot Chozo soldiers, and they're just created with advanced Chozo technology. The other important thing that we're going to be... 2D Metroids have a lot of important things. But we're going to have to figure out what happened to the Chozo civilization. Because they obviously didn't go extinct like the Metroid series. So the remains, while many remnants of Chozo civilization have appeared in prior Metroid games, this is the first game that an actual living Chozo appears. So we're gonna have to figure out who they are. In addition to figuring out who they are, we're gonna have to figure out, are the Metroids truly gone? Are the Chozos truly gone? And does the X-Parasite truly exist? These are all questions that have to be figured out in Metroid Dread, which we are going to be getting our answers for, and it will be concluding the entire series. However, important thing to know about the Chozos and Metroid is that the Chozos created Metroids. Metroids are not organic creatures. They're actually, well, they're not inorganic, obviously, but they are man-made, or Chozo-made. So originally, the Metroids were artificially created by the Chozo, an intelligent species with a vision for galactic harmony to destroy the dangerous X-parasitical life form found on planet SR388. So while many have tried to weaponize Metroids because of their energy-absorbing ability, this has made the species the source of several conflicts in the past and the entire point of the Metroid game line. Samus was sent to this, SR388. We were able to find a lot about these Metroids. Now, the X-Parasite is probably the deadliest form or life in the entire universe. In the entire universe, the Chozo realized that, and which is why they created the Metroid. While the Metroids are the most powerful, the X-Parasite is the most deadliest. So this can inhabit living or dead organic creatures and use their host genetic information to mimic them completely. The story in the game starts with a mysterious transmission that implies X may still exist. So we're going to have to find out in the game if this is actually true, in addition to what happens, what is on planet ZDR, and why does it have all these things. However, I don't know these answers. Volume 9 won't be coming out until, my guess is, the day before the game launches or the day the game launches. And if you want to know about those powers, you can read Report Volume 5. I don't want to spoil the whole game for you or for myself either. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Who's getting Metroid Dread? Who's super excited? Who's never played any 2D Metroid game ever? I totally recommend playing all of them. They're all great. Every Metroid game has always been great. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace, homies.